Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? And welcome to the Large Scale Consolidated Live. And so we're going to kick off the show with Andrew tonight. And we're going to do some introductions. And how is Andrew doing tonight?
Hmm. Well, the wife doesn't know about the G scale stuff I bought today, so I'm still alive.
Ah!
And she's sleeping already, so hopefully she doesn't watch the rerun.
Oh, there you go. So you bought some G scale stuff today?
Yeah, I just picked up a few cars from some stuff my friend was selling.
Oh, okay. Nothing too expensive, I hope.
No, that's why I typically buy used. I try to
Oh.
I try to spread the money out.
So let's see who's in the chat today. And we have a good friend, Ravenhawk, 6910, Canadian Railroads, EJ and E, Stay Loaded, Cody Risinger, Sean Fields, Darren Warren, Dunbar, and Krista Dempsey, Penzi. I'm not even going to try the rest of that. The Penzi division. Bruce Morrill. Bruce is from South Jersey or North Jersey. And let's see who else we have in here. John Sukovich, Kyle Kuiper, and Taya is here. And Benner, 1877. Mark. All right. So looks like I'm a name wrecker, so unfortunately. Everybody knows that from previous shows. So if I wrecked your name, sorry in advance. So let's bring up we have a couple guests we want to bring up. Isn't that right, Andrew?
We do.
So let's bring them up. And here they are. From KR Custom Signals. So, how you guys doing tonight?
Good. Excellent.
Great. Glad to have you on the show. We want to introduce the G Scale community to some signals tonight. Maybe some of them will be wanting to install some signals on their G Scale railroads.
Hopefully, Dakman doesn't get his signals crossed.
Yeah.
Ravenhawk.
Yeah. So we always start off the show by asking the guests to talk about how they got into the model trains, and then also, how they got into what they're doing and offering the community. So maybe you could tell us a little background on how you got into model trains altogether.
Okay. Well, I got into model trains because of him. when we were real little, I was in diapers still, believe it or not. My dad and my brother got into O-scale when we were in Formosa, Taiwan, Formosa. Dad was in the Army. And so it just stuck with me ever since. So that's how we got into it.
World War II stuff.
Yeah, all Lionel, old Lionel stuff. Anyway, I stayed in it. I went into HO for several years and got back into O-scale. And I sent Sean the picture of what got me into all the signals. It started out with a desire to do a custom O-scale Alaska Railroad bicentennial engine. And the finished product, Sean's got the picture. Bring it up while I'm talking if you want.
Yeah, I'm working on that now.
I had a friend in Anchorage. He and I both wanted a set, and we wish somebody like Lionel or MTH would have done a custom run and brought them out themselves. But they never did. So we ended up basically contracting with a guy named Randy Jones out of Indiana. He's got a YouTube channel, I believe. I can't think of it right now, but I'll tell you later. anyway, we got a hold of him, and he does custom painting. So we said, hey, here's what we want to do. We sent him pictures, and he says, yeah, I can do all that. So then, of course, we weren't happy with just the basic stuff. We wanted the snow plows and the winterization hatches and all the add-on pieces that were not commercially available. So I got into 3D printing after I had the guy on YouTube make me the hatches. And I said, well, that's cool, but that's only one thing, and I don't want to keep bugging him. So I bought my first 3D printer, and way too expensive. But anyhow, I got it, started making some of the other parts, the snow plows and the other winterization hats. There's two different styles on top. And then if you notice the rotary beacons on this, it's got some pads that sit on. I made those little pads and just a bunch of stuff. But anyhow, after over a year, we finally got our custom painted engines. And so as I was doing all of these 3D printing parts, my brother and I got together at my sister's 75th birthday, I believe it was. And I brought all the parts, and I brought my laptop to show him what program I was using to design it with and all that. So he got kind of interested in 3D then and came back to South Carolina. I'm in Alaska. And called me up one day, and he says, hey, what kind of printer do you think I should get? He said, I'm looking at the Ender 3. Well, the Ender 3 was about the 10th of the cost of what I paid for my first printer. And so I said, yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about it. So he bought one and got it all set up and started printing stuff. He was printing all kinds of kitchen utensils and drawer dividers and all kinds of stuff around the house to use. And he says, hey, I got a broken gas tank on that engine you sent me. Do you think we can make one 3D printed? I said, sure. You draw it up for me, and I'll print it out. And that's how he got into doing some of it. But then after a while, he said, this is pretty neat. I think we can make some stuff. So what do you think we can do to, make a little side money and promote your hobby? And I said, well, I'd like to see a bunch of signals out there in O-scale, because I said, if you get all the die-cast ones, they'll put you in the poorhouse. But I said, I just want some signals that look nice and work good, and you can afford to put a bunch in. Yeah, the Ender 3. They're an excellent printer. About $175, $180 is what they cost. So anyhow, he ended up getting one, and after a while, he started. I printed something up that I designed, and my printer wouldn't print it. I got a MakerBot printer, and I could not print this one part. So I sent it to Ken, and he printed it up on his Ender 3. Came out perfect. I said, you got to be kidding me. So anyway, he said, okay, I'm going to start making signals. So he designed the first one and sent me a sample and sent me a over-the-track bridge, signal bridge for a Christmas present. And so I said, well, if you're going to do this, as a production thing, one printer's not going to hack it. I said, we're going to need about 10 of them. He goes, what, 10 of them? So I started buying them 2 at a time and having them shipped down here to him. And he's got them set up all over the house now, but he agrees 10's not enough.
So instead of lamps on the end tables, you got 3D printers on them?
Yeah.
Got 3 in my office and 7 or 8 of them upstairs.
Good grief.
So anyway, that's how we got into it. And then we printed up a few, and then I think we sent a sample. Who did we send our first sample to?
Legacy? Was it Legacy?
I think Legacy. We went and talked to him about it, and then we went down to Legacy Station and actually put the over-track bridge. If you've ever been to Legacy Station, he's got a 2-track bridge over his test track down there. And so we actually hooked it up and wired it in for him. And as soon as we got it hooked up, one of the customers standing there watching it, he bought one of the 6 bridges. And then after that, it was a no-brainer. I mean, Brian from Legacy bought everything we make. So if you need it no scale, Legacy probably has it. But we do custom. We prefer to do direct. That way we can get you what you want.
The thing that was so interesting about what we were doing is instead of buying extra hardware to run your signal, like a lot of them required, you actually had to have external circuit card, and then your bridge. You buy that, and it was running up in $100, for it. And I said, I want all the electronics in the signal. And I said, I want it real simple to hook it up. So it was 3 wires for a single head signal. 1 for power, 1 for common ground, and 1 for the trigger. And for a dual, it was just one more lead. So 4 leads instead of 3 for a dual. And so, we optimized on that, and we had good prices, and we did quantity sales. Those that wanted 3 or 4 more, they'd get 15-20% discount. And those that, dealers got 20%.
For a while on YouTube, or eBay to promote it, I put everything on eBay initially. We would say if you buy 3, we'll give you the 4th one free.
Oh,
While, so that was pretty good. So now if you buy quantity, we just give you straight 10 or 15%, depending on what it is.
so John Sikovich is asking, do you guys have a website?
Unfortunately, we do not, but we do have. Both of us have eBay or email. So I don't know if you guys got that. You can bring that up.
Just contact us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll probably show that.
Email us first, and then we'll call you because we prefer to talk over the phone to get all the details. But just to get a direct contact, you can email us. And you can bring our emails up.
Yeah, I can.
Joseph is asking, do they have a catalog? They got the brochure. I just sent it to Andrew.
Yeah, you want me to bring that up?
Yeah, let's go ahead and bring that up, and we'll show everybody now, so they get an idea as the show goes on what's out there.
Yeah, we got some. We'll demo it for you here in a little bit too.
Yeah, they're going to demo some signals, but let's go ahead and bring up the brochure.
While you're bringing that up, that's all O scale prices, and if we go to G scale, we'll bump it up because of the amount of plastic and the amount of complexity and the size and everything. It's probably about 15 to 20%.
And just to let the viewers know that they do customized signals, so they'll make them to whatever spec you basically want.
Right.
Yeah, we've got one customer here lately been buying just dozens of them.
Yeah.
But he has his own signaling system. I'm not even sure. He said it's from Germany or something.
It's a 2-track.
Yeah, and he's 2-track O scale, but he has gotten several custom signals from us. Some with 3 heads in a row, 3 stacked heads. But because he does all his own signaling, all we have to do is put the dropping resistor for all the LEDs, so he controls them. So it's kind of a neat deal. But if you want the control circuitry in the card, we'll do that. That's why we prefer to have a direct contact with somebody.
And then we can get you exactly what you want. And if you got a signal, an old mild signal or a brand new type, send us a picture and we'll make you a equivalent.
Yeah, we've got just about everything that's popular out there right now. So.
And that's listed across the top of.
Yeah. Someone was asking. I know the answer to the question, but they were asking if you were the same people that make Z stuff for trains. And
no, he's tried to sell me his line.
Oh, okay.
Thought we were doing this. I've talked to him several times, Chris. He's been trying to bail out of that for a couple of years now.
Oh.
But, he probably wants way too much for doing it. And, of course, he has to deal with the Chinese. So, it's one of those things. If you get into the business, you're going to have to take trips to China. And, that's just – it got way too much. I said, forget it.
Yeah. And he wanted too much money.
So Paul Torrey is asking, will your equipment hold up to the outdoors?
Wonderful question.
Good question. Yeah, that'll bring in.
When we first were asked about our signals, we were using PLA, which is a very soft plastic. It's basically sugar based, and it's not very temperature resistant. We discovered that one day when Ken was painting up a batch and he left it in the garage, and the sun came through the garage window and hit it just right. And he came back out and they were all curled up.
Whoops.
So
They're fine. They're fine
inside your room in a normal home where it's air conditioned or heated normal. They're fine. It's just you set them outside in the sun, they'll just curl up.
Yeah.
But so we started experimenting with different plastics, and I was watching a YouTube video. Once again, learned something from YouTube. Some guy was saying, what plastics hold up best to the sun? And he did a variety of about 4 different plastics. And he said PETG. So I bought a couple rolls of it and sent it to Ken and said, here, try printing with this. Once again, you got to, every plastic has a different melting temperature, and the heat beds and all the parameters are different. But he tweaked it up and got it printing and says, well, it prints just as nice, if not better than PLA. So we're using PETG, which is a very stable plastic, and it does hold up to outside sunlight. You can set it out in the yard and not a problem. So if you have an indoor or an outdoor, railway, this is it.
Now it looks like we had a question from John about how the triggering worked for your signals, and I was going to point out to people that are looking at it. Obviously, your diagrams for 3-rail, but it sort of still kind of applies. I imagine how your signaling works, right?
Right. We're using the isolated ground principle for triggering all of ours, because that's what triggers the actual circuitry in our card. It just, you take the signal wire and short it to the common ground, and you can do it any way you want to. But in 3-rail, it's easy with the isolated rail. But you can use the Lionel, what do they call those?
Optical IR.
Yeah, the IR sensors that they sell works really well.
They work with that.
And as I was saying, Heath has the opto sensors that he was demonstrating on his layout to do that. And same thing, it just detects the presence with as long as it can determine what's present and can send a ground signal. You can use just about any signaling circuit you want. Now, we're experimenting to try to come up with our own opto sensor, kind of similar to our Dwarf light. It won't be quite as big as this one. Here's our Dwarf. I don't know if you can see that very well.
Yeah, hang on. I'll.
Oh, you got it.
There we go.
Okay, there's the Dwarf light, and there it is with the green on.
Oh wow!
Pretty bright. And we could adjust the brightness. We had one guy say, "Yeah, they're too bright for me. I want them dimmer." So we can do that too. And there's the green. Now go to red, Ken.
Yeah.
And there's the red.
Yeah. I'm having to hand do this one because
But anyway,
we don't have a switch here.
We're coming up with something like this, we think, that could do basically an IR light out and back, and then you break the beam between the two and it'll trigger.
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice.
We're experimenting with that.
And that's a G scale. That's a G scale.
Yeah, that's actually a G scale.
Yeah, that's G scale.
I was going to say that looked a little bit big to be O.
Yeah.
No, that's G scale.
I see Conrail 8098 was asking if you guys use. As you say, can you do a Hall signal? Is that
A Hall sensor?
maybe that's what he meant? A Hall sensor.
Hall device?
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I've got Hall. I've got patents with Hall from GTE. I was with GTE for several years, and I did a lot of things with Hall. It's just a magnetic transistor.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's the actual size? I'd say it's just under 2 inches, or right at 2 inches, probably.
And but anyway, yeah, we can use Hall. And it sounds like he's got something under his train to trigger a Hall device, and so his Hall device can do the electronic interface.
That's what Lionel's got now, I think, is their Hall device. Isn't that what they're using for a sensor in their fast track? I don't have fast track, so I'm not sure. but I know they've got something that triggers all their trains and sends sound sequences and things, and it's in their sensor track. But yeah, there's several ways to do it. I've done it before when you use the old photo cell stuck in the track, the CAD cells. You make sensors that do that. When the train goes over, it blocks the light, it can trigger it. There's a lot of ways to do it. I think probably the most reliable is, like I said, the opto sensors, photo. So
Next question: do you make railroad crossing signals and or crossbucks?
Okay, you're talking about the blinking red light.
Yes, correct.
We don't do any of the mechanical stuff, the gates, but we are making a bridge, a half bridge, a cantilever bridge, which has the blinking lights on the right and also up on the bridge. And I'm making my first one right now with one of our customers that's buying all kinds of stuff from us. And I'll have some pictures of that I'll send on to you so you can show anybody that's interested in those. And we do it in G scale too. But this one's the O scale that we're doing right now.
yeah,
So
we don't do anything mechanical. The banjo is the back and forth arm.
Yes.
Was that
Yeah.
what a banjo is? Okay.
yeah, we don't
Yeah.
do the mechanical, any mechanicals, but we'll do any lighting and that type of operation.
What we're good at is the specific design types. I'm going to bring another
Okay.
signal in just to show you. You notice how it's these heads and the bridge and the ladder layout. That's actually from a local one that we took a picture of here. I think it's the Norfolk Southern that uses it. But this has got the D heads, and this is actually one that we took a picture of here locally. So if you've got you're trying to model a certain scenery space or an area or a particular type of railroad, and you've got signals that you want, then we can do that. You just take a picture of it and say, hey, I want one of these. And if it's not too ridiculously elaborate, we can probably do it.
Yeah.
But
And that's a G one he just showed you. That's a G scale.
the infrared be affected by sunlight outside. Possibly if the sunlight's directly facing it, like at sunset or something, trying to go into it. But usually not. I know they're all adjustable. You can adjust the sensitivity and the light effective. So that'd have to be an experiment, really. We haven't done a whole lot of outdoor experimenting with signaling because we're just now offering it.
Yeah, I know Sean Fields that was saying he liked your signal. He has quite a few signals on his outdoor layout, and I believe he uses infrared for his, if I'm not mistaken.
Triggering?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He may comment here if he does and tell us if he has any issues with it or not.
John was
Garage
asking if
door.
that was a grade signal.
Oh, the one they were showing?
Yeah.
That actually was a block signal right over here on the North Fork Southern. As you're going from here to where were we heading? Greenwood.
Greenwood, yeah. Yeah. That's use the D shield, the D cove over the top. Yeah. And they've got some with 4 stacked singles, 2s, 3s, and 4s.
Okay, here's talking about the magnetic sensors. I think they make a magnet that can mount under the car, and then it triggers the sensor in between the track. So I've seen that.
Yeah, either that or if it's what I'm thinking of, the guy he's talking about, he actually used like 2 metal plates that basically use the weight of the track to like kind of contact them to do the triggering on it.
Oh,
If I'm not mistaken.
Lionel used to
a
do
big,
in their
big
old
engine.
the old Lionel trick when the plate touched the rail. Yeah. There's probably several ways you can do it. It's one of the areas we haven't really researched into because I know there's so many commercial things available on that realm. The thing is with electronics, most people, a lot of the stuff that's commercial is made in China, and so their price points are really good. I mean, components are what they are, and to do triggering devices, It's all been done. You might say somebody's done it, and they're offering something commercial in it. But to try to offer something even cheaper than what they are, it's hard to say if we could even do that.
And so that the viewers know, don't make signals to the specific size that you want. If you're not happy with the size that you're seeing in the brochures or the catalogs.
Right.
I mean, if you want something that's 129 scale, 124, they're custom makers. I mean, they'll customize to whatever you guys want.
Yep, you got it. We don't have a ruler here, but this signal's probably at least 13 inches tall, 12 to 13. This one I showed, at least 12 or 13 inches.
Yeah.
So let's say I ordered a custom signal. About how long does it take, or the turnaround time for a signal?
It depends the complexity of the signal. If it's something unique,
Okay.
probably a week to a week and a half, but none of this month stuff.
All right. Yeah, I just wanted to give the viewers, some kind of expectation of, of a custom run signal.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have to help me building the house, he's got all day long to work on it. So,
But yeah, no, we would. It depends on the communication. We do email and we do phone, and we'll be talking about it. They look at pictures. They'll send us if they have the actual size they'd like. I will build them to that, or if they have a scale, like an O scale or something like that. Hey, I want this in G, and there's 2 types of G's in there. There's
3.
3? Is there
Yeah.
3? Yeah. So you tell me what scale you want to go, and I'll draw that up and do all the design, and then I'll scale it up from there. I can do it on the 3D printer.
Okay.
How do your signals hold up in rain, the snow?
We haven't had any out there to tell.
Okay.
It's mainly we were attacking the heat. You're talking about the ceiling, what kind of waterproofing?
I can tell you
Yeah.
this much. All of the LEDs are basically waterproof, so there's not going to be any issue.
Yeah.
All of the housings are sealed, so you're not going to get short from the rain. So depending on your signaling device, that'd be the only thing concerned. And if we provide the signaling device, then we'll make sure that the card is waterproofed inside the signal.
And if we have to, we'll pot it. Because that's really what you're doing.
RTV.
Yeah. You'll pot the
Silicone.
thing with plastic,
Silicone.
pour.
Also, it's completely sealed up then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you just take a silicone gun and plop it full.
Yep.
Seal it up.
Are these completely 3D printed, or any of the components brass or another material to help hold up outside?
It's all 3D printed. All the plastics
everything.
it's all.
And again, they're using a specific plastic for outside that resists UV and sunlight and the heat.
Mm-hmm.
They're using a PETG type of plastic, correct?
Right.
Yep.
And that's what they found best being durable outside.
It's got a long chemical name, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Polyethylene something.
Yeah.
So to make this more appealing to more G-scale people,
Mhm.
Your signals could be self-contained. They run off of you can run these off of a battery pack, actually.
Right.
So you could actually pick them up and bring them inside at the end of the day without having to wire them up hardwire, correct?
Most of our stuff will work on anywhere from about 8 volts to 18 volts AC or DC.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So I could literally run a signal off of a 9-volt battery if I wanted to.
Yep.
Yeah,
In
that's
fact,
what we're doing here.
that's exactly what we're doing here.
Yeah, show them this one. We'll light
Yeah.
this one up. Get
Okay.
it lit, and I'll figure which side.
Yeah.
it
Let me fire this one up here and
is. Okay.
get the size. Yeah. There you go.
There's a 9-volt battery running this one,
Yeah.
and this is the G scale
Yeah.
D
Now-
head.
Now this one's got electronics in it, so when the track triggers it, it'll go to red, which is the lower. Usually, they can put them wherever they want them, but that usually the top is green and the bottom's red. and as long as that train is
He's-
triggered that, it'll stay red.
It's flashing because he's not
Right.
holding it tight.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I'm holding it together with my fingers. Okay, so when the train clears, you go yellow for 10 seconds, and we can set whatever that time is. And then it'll go back to green as a clear. So that's all automatic, electronic.
And that's in the bottom. There's the
Right.
card down there.
Okay. And do you build the units with a built-in infrared motion detector?
Yeah,
No.
I think what
Not-
he's asking is I know I've seen some in the past that like had it built like right into the base of the signal, so it would kind of trip it as the train went right past it, maybe.
That's probably in O scale or a G scale we might be able to accomplish that if
Yeah.
we did some experience because we got room. We got size limitations. Right now we have a circuit card that's about 2 inches by a ½ inch wide that fits in the base of our over the track signals, and it'll do 4 separate heads on each card. So we can put 4 cards in that signal that double stacked on both the pedestal bases.
Yeah.
So size and how complicated your heads are depends on that. And then
And will they work on DC and AC or just
Correct.
Well,
both.
okay, both?
It's got its own rectifier circuit in the card, so if you hook it up to AC or DC,
Yeah,
doesn't
I
matter.
don't care.
Doesn't matter. All right, that's good.
It's down to 8 volts. Like this is a 9 volt, and it's plenty bright.
There's a couple viewers asking if they would work on 24 volts.
No,
We can make it to do that, but right now it's not protected for that much.
we have to change the protected circuits.
And my limit's up to 20, and I use a Zener to and drop from there. But if we put a Zener circuit in there to do it, and we would custom that to the customer's need, if I know that and he's going to buy that design, I would put that in there for him
Oh, okay.
because it's just a regular.
It's the components. The components that we use are rated for, I think it's 25 volts
Right.
is the
So-
max peak voltage.
Okay, so you could offer them to run on 24 volt then.
Yeah.
Right, but they'd
Because
have to let us know that.
Because I make my own little power supply in there, so
Okay,
I'll run it off of that anyway. So I just need to drop the.
Do you
yeah.
have any of those circuit cards made up? Probably not.
Which ones?
In the base.
Well, this is the only one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but
this
you can't really see the
So
component.
is all the circuitry and
This is,
everything
I've got-
contained
this
in the
is,
signal itself? Okay.
Yeah. See, this is an O scale over here.
Yeah. Yeah. The O scale. This is. See, in this case, in the bottom of this is the board, and this one's for a dual-headed
Streetlight.
streetlight.
Okay.
So, but on our bridges, I've got this is a two circuit board.
In the bottom.
And in the bottom. In our bridges, the base on either side will take up 4 circuits. So we could put 4 circuits worth, or 8 circuits for the total bridge.
Eight separate signaling
Yeah.
capabilities.
So it could be even a 4 wide track. 4 track.
okay. And John was asking the base of the signal for the G scale versions. Can they be mounted on a plate or attached to something for stability?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they all have little holes for mounting at the base,
Yeah.
and you can put little nails through
Yeah,
on a
this
piece of board. Yeah, see, there's
Yeah, this is the.
Where's
got
the
to hold
hole
it
at?
slow.
there you go. 2
Oh,
tabs.
okay.
So those can have little nails or screws.
Yeah.
And then
Same
We-
way with the dwarfs also have a.
Yeah.
On the back, I'll show you that.
they just have a offset hole tab.
See the
down there.
little holes there?
Okay. I was going to say a question I seen that's popped up in the chat several times, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to it. But Alan Newton was asking if you offered the STL files to print your own signals, and I would assume the answer to that's no because you're selling your signals.
Right, and that's why when we do a custom, we usually, if it's a brand new signal that we don't have at all, then it's usually like a $40 design fee because we have to spend several hours on on AutoCAD programming, designing it and drawing it up, and then after we got it drawn to where we think it's going to work, then we've got to print one up to see if it's going to work, and then if there's something that we missed or need to tweak or change the size,
or change.
So then we go back and do the drawing changes and do it again. So, usually we're pretty good. He's pretty good at getting it drawn right the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And especially now he's been doing so many of them that he's got to really getting the hang of it for making quick changes.
But $40 for a design is pretty cheap. I mean, that's off somebody's picture.
Yeah.
With their dimensions, and so $40 on top of what one signal would cost.
I've paid that much and more to have custom decals done, just to design the decals.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
So.
Now, I know we have quite a few Pennsy Railroad fans in our chat. And so you guys also offer Pennsy Railroad signals as well, correct?
Hmm? Yeah. Bring that page up, the first page that
Sure
you had
thing.
earlier. And I'll point out the different heads that we off the shelf provide. And then we'll do any customs beyond that. But yeah, if you bring that back up and then we'll point those out.
There's basically two styles that they use. The old famous one, there you go, down on the right here.
So on the left is your Searchlight. They call it, it's a single light, but it makes 3 different colors, electronically changed.
Yeah.
Then the next little window is the Streetlight, which is, it's got 3 different signal colors, three different LEDs. Then over to the very right, there's 2 other ones which we make. One's the New York City G2, which is central, and it's the 3 light, and then we got the Pennsy, which is the 9 light on the right.
Oh, okay.
So those are just off the shelf heads that we have.
We have all
on
the
the
heads
bridges,
are already
or
drawn
on the
up,
single.
designed, and everything.
Right. Either on the single standalone signal or multi combinations on bridges.
What you don't see here, but we can do, is a back-to-back head as well, similar to this one.
Yeah.
This one has the back-to-back heads,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't have a picture showing that, but we can do that.
So those are custom. All we need to know is what style you wanted, what kind of poles you want. Your color. That's another issue.
You want all black, or do you want silver and black?
Okay.
Now, when you're printing these, are you printing these in the colors, or are you actually painting the signals?
We're painting them.
Okay.
Yeah, most of my stuff I do in black. A lot of our bridges, they come in black, and then they can paint them, touch them up, or customize the ladder color or the ramp across.
One of the reasons we stick with black is we found it's the most reliable, consistent, and gives us the best
Classic.
print quality.
Yeah.
It seems to be consistency is the big key. But
the next step that I do then is I'll do a base coat, and it's all spray coated. Then the detail I do manually,
hand brush
with hand brushed with E-type paint. What do you call it? Enamel paint. And
Oh, okay.
So, and then they just tell me what color they want and what part they want. I do a lot of dwarfs they get concrete base and then silver, upper part. And I don't have this one's not painted.
This is concrete base right here.
Yeah.
And then the silver metal.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Even got the bolt patterns and stuff down there.
Mm-hmm.
That looks nice.
The more detail you want, that it adds a few dollars here and there, but it's not going to break the bank. Any of these.
Right. So,
Well, just say this, pricing wise. As I said, Legacy Station has our entire line, and Brian keeps saying, "You guys are too cheap," and we keep telling him, "Well, that's the whole idea. We're trying to keep it affordable so that anybody can buy them, and we're still making a little money on them. It's not. It's more of a hobby business, really. We're enjoying what we do. We want to provide a product so people can enjoy their hobby,
and the people love it.
So I guess there's still a little confusion from the viewers of how to wire that to be triggered for outdoor use.
Okay. Just the 3-wire scheme is what I have. I use red for either AC or DC, the hot plus.
positive side.
The black is your common, or they call it a ground, the neutral, and that's always black. And then I have my scheme is white. The first signal trigger is white, and then the next one's yellow, and the next one's blue, and the next one's green. That's like on the bridge. You got 4 colors for your triggers. So those signals, let's say we got a single light. So you got that white wire, and you say, I want to trigger that in a block area, and they'll take one side of the neutral and they'll isolate the pins for the length they want to trigger on, and they'll solder that lead to run to that track, the rail. And when the train goes over that, basically it grounds that isolated trail. It floats at whatever the DC or AC voltage is. And then when that train comes, it shorts the wheels across, and it brings it to a low state.
Now that's in 3-rail.
That's
So if you're going to do 2-rail, you either have to use an IR sensor, an opto sensor, or something like that.
Exactly.
And it has to be at both ends of where you want to trigger starting and stopping.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
or the length of the train.
Mm-hmm.
The way it's triggered, is it a momentary voltage or is it a continual voltage?
It's a constant ground.
Mm-hmm.
As long as that ground is on, it'll stay into the red light.
Yeah.
Once the train leaves that
it's a low state. It's a low state.
Right. Once the train removes the ground, either by an optical sensor, an IR sensor, or the shorted ground across the rails, or what other method. There's several out there.
I imagine like your dwarf signals and that you might be able to make those work. Because I know you said with like the O scale stuff, you have those wired up to work off the switch machine now.
Yeah.
Pico and LGB, I know, make a snap-in relay, and like the Aristo switch machines, I believe they actually had terminals on them that when you threw the switch, it would energize different ones.
Right.
So that would probably work the same way, I imagine.
Yeah. And that's the way our dwarfs are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our dwarfs are wired and designed for each switch, depending on whether you're doing, now again, these are all the Lionel versions or O scale.
Yeah.
But if you've got a two-track signal, now fill me in here. I haven't been around G scale switches in a while. Do the tracks have any kind of light indication on the switch machines or on the controllers at all? Are they lit all the time when they're, right or left, red or green?
It depends on the switch machine that's on there. Most of them don't have anything built into them
because they're manual.
Yeah. I was looking to see if I had some light in here, but I don't. I would imagine it would have to work off of, if you're doing it on the switches, off of the add-on relays they make.
Yeah, well, Atlas makes an add-on relay, and that's the only way you can trigger our dwarfs is using that, and that's what JD's using on his layout.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find a picture of those relays.
It's actually in one of our drawings, but I don't think we gave you any of the hookups.
See, for the O scale, we can do a DZ 2500, a DZ 1000, MTH, a fast track / Lionel, or the MTH. They all have different wiring.
The old Lionel.
The
The
old
lever,
one, yeah.
throw lever, old
And that
style.
one, yeah, and that one. So, but those are, and I've figured out how to wire all those, and they've got instructions on how to hook it up, and it just hooks right to their switches.
Right.
So we'd have to know the electronics for the G application.
Let me see if I can share this one here.
The only remote switches that I'm familiar with is when Lionel used to do G scale. They had some remote switch machines, and they were similar to their regular Lionel. But I'm sure if we know what you're using, we can figure out something.
Yeah.
The other thing is, if nothing else, you might have to put a one of the relays, like you said, next to their throw bar, so they can manually switch it.
Mm-hmm.
So this here, I believe, is for Pico. This is a relay that snaps into the end of one of their switch machines, and I don't have the
Switch machine. But
Yeah.
I don't have the paperwork for it, but they have several different places on there to connect up.
Yeah, it's just a double pair of contacts.
Double pull, double throw.
Open, closed. Yep. So that would work if that's what you're using.
Yeah.
Yeah, and LGB makes something similar to that, I believe, as well.
Yeah, all you're trying to do is
you got
switch your pair on that. Like if you got your common contact and a open closed, you can put your red and green LED to that.
Right. And your common.
Yep.
Goes
And
to
then
your common.
And then the other part goes to the hot.
Then you just have to worry about the dropping resistor for that voltage that they're operating at.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then let's see here. I'll show you what. This isn't exactly the same.
Here's a general information for anybody using LEDs. If you use a 1K resistor, you won't blow any LEDs. So that's a good, safe operating resistor.
Okay.
Hey, Heath. Blame Heath.
Yeah, that's the easiest thing to do is blame Heath.
Well, here's what I was going to show.
Okay.
This isn't a Pico turnout, but it's about the same thing. But that's what their switch machines look like. And at the right end of that is where either the LGB or the Pico relay will actually snap into the end of that. So when the switch throws, it trips it internally.
That's cool. Yeah. So then now on the end of that, where it shows those two LEDs on that.
No, those are just like painted on dots, I believe, on there.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
Okay. So it's got the throw bar on there that moves. I guess that's this guy right here.
Yeah, this is the throw bar. That's just throwing a
throws your
contact
switch.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cody corrected me, left side. But I see we had someone ask how it would work with dead rail. In other words, if you're not running any power in the track at all.
Actually, that's probably to their advantage because they could actually tie a ground to one rail if they wanted to and use isolated rail sections.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be the easy ways to do it. That's how I would do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're running a battery operated controlled engine and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would just find your sections where you want to put blocks and put a plastic rail joiner in there and make a section of track and tie a ground to that thing. And as soon as it, triggers to the ground, boom.
Because I use whatever voltage you're operating at, I float my lead, my trigger lead, on that voltage. So anything that brings that below 5 or 6 volts below where that was, that's triggered. And you can do that with optical too. You know, the
Yeah,
optical just brings it low.
And you can just put ground to both rails and just have one being isolated. And that one isolated would trigger your signals.
But you would still need to power the signal itself up with a battery, right? Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
either
You run it
battery
to your
or-
auxiliary, or
I mean, even a regular 9-volt battery, for that fact, for those who want
Right.
completely
Yep.
portable.
Yeah, and if I was going to do that, I'd get a whole bunch of rechargeables.
rechargeable 9 volts. Yeah.
Sean Fields, I see, commented he runs his lights and his current signals off of just a landscape lighting power supply.
That's auxiliary power.
And thinking about Sean, I remember him telling me, oh, what is it?
Well, those are 24 volt, aren't they? The landscape lighting power.
Well, you can buy them in
Yeah.
12-volt too.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of the control system he uses for his signals. Is it like Azra?
Azatrack?
Azatrack, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what he uses.
Yeah, that's what several of our customers have done.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. They controlled all the lights.
I still
just
would like to
didn't-
know who. We're going to have to get a hold of that one customer we got that's got the German control system.
Yeah.
Because it's programmable apparently, and he can do all
Yeah.
kinds of neat stuff with it. Okay, 12 volt, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our stuff works from 8 to 18, so 12 volts is perfect.
All right, great. All right. So, do you guys have any other signals you want to show us?
Not in G scale. We got
Yeah.
all kinds of
All my
stuff.
stuff's in. Oh.
I mean, if you have O-scale stuff, I mean,
Yeah, let me bring a couple down here.
Just
Yeah, let me bring a couple.
mentally prepare everybody. It's going to be smaller than you expected, but you can scale it up.
Yeah, and they're all custom. Again, they're customized. Company. They'll make them to whatever scale ratio you want.
Now, if we knew you were gonna ask that question,
Yeah, good job, Sean.
we'd have brought our test track down that we made on the last show we had with Sterling, because we actually have a mainline track with a switch, and it's got an over-track bridge and some signals. It shows all of them, and then we actually run the engine through and do all that.
And of course, Heath wants to know if you make them an N scale.
But everybody always asks that. If you can find some smaller than small electronics than what we're already using, sure. No.
Yeah, here's a.
Okay, yeah. Here's a over-track with
2-tracker.
This is the standard Streetlight head,
And show them the bottom.
and then on the bottom is see how long it is.
Oh yeah.
Circuit card,
Red, black, and then you got your 4 colors for the signals, the 4 different signals.
4 different trigger
Yeah.
wires.
And if you have 8, you could have double heads.
Yeah, be off of
And
both sides.
I'd have another.
Both sides would have wires coming out.
Yeah. This one doesn't have all. This is a cantilever.
Still
It's
being
pretty-
made.
Yeah, it's kind of rubber banded, but it'll do signals on the top and signals on the one above it.
And our crossing gate one will be similar to this. It'll have the 2 lights side by
Yeah.
side.
And so
Here's one in
here's
silver.
another one. It's silver, and
Very
don't
nice.
have any heads on it, but you see the dummy caps on there.
Okay.
And this is for he's got against the wall, so he needs something narrow. So instead of
Well, that's a good question.
having the bridge, the
Like this
structure like that,
one. Oh, yeah,
they
yeah.
got just and then he's got a hole up
Hold
there
the feet up higher so they
to
can see
bolt
the-
it to the wall.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I did that custom. This is a custom. For
Yeah,
him.
and this is see how narrow the feet are.
Yeah.
This is heavy, and it's just plastic.
But the holes he just anchors that down.
If I didn't know better just by the weight that he handed that thing, I would have said that was die cast. That's how heavy that is.
Oh, wow.
Sean Fields is asking, how wide can those be made? How wide can you make it on your printer?
4-track widths is about, and I do that in pieces. In fact, I made his first.
The longest
my first-
single piece we can
Yeah.
print is about
I do it in
20
stage.
inches.
I'd stage it, so I make it whatever you want.
We can print a continuous piece 20 inches wide.
Oh, okay.
And if you want something wider than that, we just put two
Yeah,
of them together.
I design it to show the bolts. It look like structural bolts.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I got a 3-tracker that he made me that's got bolts in the middle. Matter of fact, I had to put a custom piece in the middle of that after he did it because my tracks were not custom width. I had extended the tracks a little wider and put extensions between the switches.
Mm-hmm.
So my spacing was probably at least a half inch or more wider than regular.
But those are just a few that I had on hand. I don't
Now,
ship out what I get.
now say like I already have a signal bridge, and do you guys sell just the heads? Like if I wanted to put Pensy style signals on my signal bridge, could I buy just the signal heads to mount on it myself? Or
The question is, how do you connect up there?
Okay.
Yeah, see, because if you have a connector or something, and you let us know what that connector is and what the pinout is.
MTH
I could
makes
make
the
you-
Pensy heads. It's got a plug-on head.
Yeah.
We've talked
okay.
about doing that, but there's so many variations.
Yeah,
that'd
there's
be kind of hard.
yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because it'd be kind of hard to do it just universal, I imagine.
Yeah, there's too many combos. But if you gave me pictures of what you got and the dimensions and what your pin, if it's a connector or something, I could come up with whatever, we'd find out what kind of drop you needed, so I put resistors in it. Whatever, that's all custom,
Okay.
capable.
Yeah, that's basically what we do. We try to make all of ours ready to run. So all
Okay.
we do is put power to them
Yeah.
and add a sensor.
Simple install, simple.
So Carrie's asking, can you make the signal ready to run or RTR sensors added so you only need to hook up a 9-volt battery?
You could.
You're saying like put the optical sensor up right in the base or something when it comes by.
Yeah, in other words, you just take it out, set it down with a battery hooked up, and off it goes. You don't have to like wire it to the track, I'm guessing is what he means.
Right. Yeah. We probably could do that. We just, like I said, we kind
Yeah,
of need
you'd put an auxiliary cabinet out by it, like they do at the railroad, You'd have your battery in there, and then, again, we'd customize how he's or she is hooking up, and we would, make it custom.
Yeah.
for
I
that.
guess the biggest thing for everybody to keep in mind is, you're expanding in the G now, so there's some things that you have to kind of work on a little bit still. So obviously you're willing to work with whoever with however they want them set up.
Exactly.
So I guess the best recommendation is, if you have something like specific question, that you want to go into more detail with, like I've got your emails running across the bottom of the screen there.
Yeah.
I encourage anybody to send Ken and Richard an email, and I'm sure you guys will have a more in-depth conversation with that.
Yeah.
And so everybody knows that they K&R's had several YouTube channels do reviews on their signals, so they're good quality product, and that's why we invited them onto the show. They're pretty professional, and they've been out for quite some time making these signals in O gauge, and they were willing to expand into the G scale community, and I think it's needed because unless somebody else knows, I don't think there's anybody else making signals in G scale right now. So I think that just having somebody come behind a Shiloh Signals or South Bend and to offer signals, especially customized to your needs, is a big plus.
I don't remember who the circuitry controllers were, but I remember at one point in the past when I was in HO, they used to take and solder a resistor across the two wheels in 2-track HO, and that's how they somehow used that to do the sensing for track detection. You guys, anybody remember that? Years ago, they would do that. Big deal.
It sounds kind of archaic.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I'm like trying to think. Like, I'm not sure.
But hey, you know,
well, what it
what
did,
works.
somehow it sensed the resistive value of the wheels going across that section of track, and then it just like anything else, it sensed that change in voltage just a little bit because of the resistor. And
Yeah. Heath is asking if you sell direct. Yes, Heath, they do sell direct. And Sean Fields is asking, can we see the Penzi signals that are mass mounted? I don't know if you have any nearby or not.
I can show you one that's not hooked up. I mean, it's
yeah, he grabbed it. We can do this again another time, and what we'll do is we'll get the test track out because we tried to show the variety. Yeah, I know it's too big, but we've sold all of the Penzi signals that we did. We had a big custom run for JD Stux had us do that. Jason,
Yeah.
he had I don't know, about a half a dozen or more signals that he got from us, and those were the 3-light Penzi style.
Oh, okay.
There is a head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's your Penzi.
There's the head right there.
Yeah, but because it's black, it doesn't show up very good. But
Oh
anyway,
yeah, when you do
the
it head on,
nine-
yeah, it kind of
yeah, the
blends
nine-
together.
9 guys there.
Okay.
That kind of shows it. This one is it sits on a. Let's see, I don't have a mast here, but you got a nice. This is the
that's
ladder.
The ladder assemblies.
Yeah, and then the mast comes up, and then this sits on top of the mast, and then if you have 2, you have another one down below, so it goes right through.
The hole there.
Yeah, the hole. But this is a 9. This is a Penzi. This is O scale.
Okay.
So this is New York.
Yeah, we can do red, green, and yellow. All you got to do is tell us the layout design because there's so many.
This is the oops. Just got it apart there. But anyway, yeah, this is the face for that.
Yeah, there's the red, green, yellow
G2,
head.
yeah, G2. So yellow, green, red.
What is CPL?
I don't know.
Could you put red, green, and yellow LEDs in them to make a CPL? I'm not sure.
But yeah.
CPL.
Did the CPL have a 9-light pattern but used red, yellow, and green?
Not sure on that one.
Yeah.
Maybe he can.
Yeah, give us
Maybe he
some.
can clarify a little bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sean,
Picture.
clarify what a CPO is.
The problem is there's so many varieties.
Yeah,
of
names.
signals. Every railroad had their own little peculiar things.
Yeah. And then you say, "Oh, that's a such and such for somebody else."
Yeah.
I was going to ask you guys. I have a website for our show, and I have a couple other things on there. Would it be okay to embed the PDF doc that you gave us, like in part of our page, so people can see what you offer and contact you?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, it'd be great. You, I think I don't have that. Well, wait a minute. Does that have our? Yeah, it does. It's got our emails and stuff on it.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, it's on the very first page of it.
If it's very railroady specific, you may want to call me. If it's just a design question or a how to build it, do it thing, call Ken because then he's there. I'm more of the railroad fanatic-y stuff, and Ken's the engineer for all of the design stuff. So.
Okay.
And then we corroborate to get the things right.
Yeah, you know how the salesmen are. They sell it. They don't know that they can make it or not, but they can sell it. and then they hand it to us. Say, "Okay, here's your order." Oh yeah. So yeah. Anyway.
So what is the once they talk to you about what they want to make? I guess it depends on whether it's how much of a custom build it's going to be as far as the basic costs. I mean, right?
Yeah. If they see something in our price list, say for example, and said I want this and I want it in G, then we'll see. They can look at a general price, and then if they go G, they put 20% on there.
Okay.
You got all the plastic added, and you got the complexity and
bigger LEDs and all that
LEDs, stuff. Custom stuff.
Yeah.
So we have to add some cost in there for stocking. You know, if they have a order, then we'll knock it down.
Usually, if you order multiples of 4 or more, we'll knock off 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Sparky answered your question.
There you go, Sparky. Yeah. Color position light. Yep, we can do that. All we have to do is you just tell us what the layout of your color is,
right,
and then how you want it to trigger.
Yeah,
because that's easy to do.
And John would like to know, what is the turnaround time on something that is already listed?
Less than a week or a week at the most.
Depends on the quantity
and how it's painted and all those. How many heads or
let's say you order it Monday, we'll probably have it in the mail Friday or Saturday.
And probably, I don't know if it's something you're prepared to try to explain it all or not, but I see Heath was saying that he's going to have to figure out signaling to understand what he needs.
Well,
so do we.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If you're trying to do it prototypically, you almost need an electronic CTC panel, because just like in the real railroads, when they're doing the block separation, you always have one behind and one ahead that changes with the sequence.
Yeah, if you really go
blown. The first signal you come to, a lot of times you look at the railroad, they'll be black, and then as the train approaches, it turns red or green, depending on what it's what it can do on its approaching block. But then the block that it's in, the one behind it's saying it's red, the one in front of it's probably yellow. So they have to continually change as they go around if you're going to be prototypical.
Yeah, and I don't do that part.
Yeah.
You're link to link. You've got to.
What we do is just try to make the block that you're in showing active, so that as you're approaching the block, it's in red or green. So it says, okay, you can approach. There's no other train. And then when you hit it, it turns red. And as long as you're in that block, it stays red. And then once you've left the block, it turns yellow. So if you got, like in a club where you're doing, multiple remote handhelds and 3 people are going around the layout with stuff, well, they come up to the block and they're going to see that it's red because there's a train already on it. So he's going to know to stop on the block. Okay, there's the color position.
That's 3-3. Yeah, the 3-3.
Yeah, this is Sean Fields sent me this. He said that's for a CPL signal.
Right, and then it goes yellow and
save that.
Yeah,
capture.
Send us that picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's easy, and I can do that. That's something because it's the same thing.
We just eliminate
2 lights.
Yeah, we can eliminate some of the heads when it prints.
Yeah, red, yellow, green.
Yeah, he said it's red across the middle, yellow on the diagonal, and green straight up and down.
Yep.
Yeah. And we could do that if you wanted a 9 light to do that, or the 6 light, either way.
Yep, that's easy to do. Yep.
That's an easy one. We just don't have one.
That's
yet.
a custom.
Yeah.
But it's an easy custom. I can see right now that, it'd be easy to make.
You just go in there with your drawing and eliminate 2
It depends on what kind of electronics they want on it. I'd have to have some kind of housing to.
I agree, Heath. I just want some animation so it looks. So, yeah. Matter of fact, I had Atlas has a separate circuit card that they provide with their die-cast set, and it actually does that. If you hook their jumper cables between cards and do that, then it'll sense what the last circuit did and triggers the next circuit and back and forth.
Oh,
That's a pretty expensive system.
That's external hardware.
yeah, I seen that. I
all
almost fell over backwards when I seen the price on that system.
Yeah.
That's because every signal has a separate circuit card, and then they can interface together. And then you got to buy their cables separate, and
Oh,
bought one once, and I said, that's too much.
I'm not a real railroad out there. Just
come
But,
on!
Where are
what
you
I
going,
like
Sean?
about it is,
You're clicking and I'm clicking the same thing. Carrie says if a train comes from the opposite direction and you added sensor detection, how will the signal react? So coming up single track opposite the LED side.
well, if optical,
is he using an optical sensor?
because it's not on the same track. So if it's
Oh,
ice
he's
rail,
saying if you added sensor detection.
Right.
So I'm thinking he's meaning optical sensor or IR maybe.
then
Well,
you have to have one for each side.
Yeah,
I
you
would
have
say.
to have one at each end of the block that you're wanting to
Right.
detect, because it has to see that train the entire time on that particular block. So even if the first sensor loses it, the train is still in the block until it passes the second sensor. So they basically just work in parallel.
Oh, okay.
And they'd have to shine from the inside, opposite to each side, because you can see why one has to be pointing one.
Well, they'd be
Detect
at
and
the
the
other
other
ends of the
detect.
track. There'd be one here and one down
right.
here.
But I'm just saying, if they see the train go by, put it on the other track. That's what he's talking about.
Oh, you talking about a double track or single
Yeah.
track? Let me read
Double
this again.
track. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but John was saying, in other words, a track signal in a single direction, but you guys can actually make a signal that would work in either direction, right?
It has two
Yeah,
heads. Yeah,
yeah.
it goes both
Two
ways.
heads. So you'd have one facing to the engineer that east, and you'd have one with the thing facing west, say. So the
Well,
censoring.
And once again, those are two separate heads, and they're controlled by two separate detections.
Right.
So if you want them to say, okay, train's coming from this way and this head's there, it's going to only detect off of this sensor. The other head's not going to do anything unless you tie it to the other circuit.
Until the train gets there, of course,
Right.
if it's the same track.
Okay. And can you do flashing signals?
Yep, we're just in the process of designing those now.
The
Okay.
ding, ding,
Yeah,
ding,
road crossing,
yeah.
flashing.
Yeah, that's kind of what this was turning out to be, something like this, but it's a walkway, and you got your double flashing lights up here, and you also have down here double flashing down on the bottom. So that's kind of what we're doing there.
Yeah, he's in the design processes on that one
Right.
now.
Yeah, that's the first one we've made of those, but
Easy flip-flop circuits on those.
no.
Oh, okay.
I know a little bit deeper of a question and maybe a little bit beyond what we're talking about, but just out of curiosity, what do you use to actually design your signals? Like what type of software do you use for that?
360. It's
Fusion 360. It's an
360.
AutoCAD program by
Okay.
Autodesk.
I was just curious.
yeah, and you do all everything is 3-dimensional stuff there, but it's all CAD. Then you transfer that file to the machine language.
And then it goes through a slicing thing
Slicing.
and puts it to tell the printer how to print it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, okay.
the reason I went with Fusion 360 is the guy that I first contacted off of YouTube was doing it, and I told him I was going to do it all myself. And he says, well, if you want to do a program that's pretty intuitive and easy to learn, he said, try Fusion 360. And at the time, I think they're still offering a 3-year free student license. And then that's what I got. I got a free student license, used it for 3 years. And now I'm paying $300 a year for it. But it's such an easy program. It's like, oh no, what are we going to do without it?
But yeah,
it is super easy to use.
Could you implement a flashing approach?
Flashing?
You mean this just regular track signal
instead of a steady red, the flashing red?
Yes.
Yeah, it can be done. I haven't got anything right now, but yeah, that's what they wanted.
Does he want it to convert from flashing to solid afterward? Because now we're talking a whole lot more electronics.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that part of it.
Well, here's the easy fix to that. If he's not trying to get real super, prototypical, is to use a red flashing LED. And then whenever it kicks into red, it's going to be flashing. But to start out, again, it depends on the signal design. Mm-hmm. Most signals use the Streetlight red, green, yellow, or the Searchlight red, green, yellow. And so for a Searchlight, it uses a single LED that changes colors three different colors.
Oops.
And
sorry
so to make it a
I hit that by accident, Andrew.
Then you got electronics to make it.
So yes, red and yellow, flashing solid yellow, then green.
Right now I don't flash my yellow. It's solid yellow.
Not only that, but the order is backwards.
Well, it's green, and then it goes red when it's busy. And then when it releases, you get your yellow time, and then it goes back to green. It's just not showing the green. I think that's what.
Well, could be.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, anything can be done, but they may pay for a new board. A PC board design. Then you'll probably run into $200 or $300.
Now he uses a totally different circuit design for his electronics. He actually designs all these circuit cards, has them tested, and then he sends them out and has the boards printed, and then he gets them back and populates all the components on it himself.
So you guys make all the own boards then? Oh,
wow. Yeah, I do the work.
Okay, I didn't realize you weren't like using off the shelf components. That's pretty neat.
Well, we are using off the
all
shelf.
a little.
Well,
yeah. But the circuit cards themselves, he custom designs and has them custom printed, and so.
And we do it by several hundred, of course. Otherwise, they're $12 instead of $3 or $4. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That was quite interesting. Flashing signal means the next signal will be red/green for the next signal.
Right. And that's what we were talking about if you wanted a prototypical setup. And the only way you really know how to do that is it has to communicate with the next signal ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, that's typical.
Yeah, that's what they're probably setting up. Yeah.
Yeah, I never really got into 100% of the real signaling of trains.
So here's my answer to this one, Split Rock. The guy that we're doing a lot of signals for right now, all we're doing is providing the signals to the wiring, and he's doing all the controlling. And I bet you anything the circuitry that he's doing can do this, because he's got triple heads that are some single heads, some are double. Yeah, he's got that just about ready built. And his circuitry control does all of that. So, we can make you the signals. You just got to get a controller that'll control the lights to do them what you want. So next time we talk to his guy's name's William, next time we talk to him, we'll find out what signal control system he's using. because he's got a pretty elaborate control system, O-scale layout, and he's got a lot of this. That's the reason why he's got the 3 heads, because he's going into sidings and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing, no
He just got
LEDs
printed.
in there, but instead of here so you can see it.
Yeah, let the
Oh,
white
okay.
shine
See
through
that? There's a 3 on the top and two on the bottom. Two different 2s. Get a little closer here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the positions on his 3 signals, and then he's using a 3 and a 2, and then he's doing a 3. So he's had all 3 types, and I think he's got 2 of these. But he's got, this is on a bridge. So we're talking stacked. See, here's where I feed it right here. And so I'm actually, this is stacked up on their bridge like such. I don't think that'll fit on there. That won't fit on that one. But anyway, yeah, that's how it's going to be. Just kind of like that. Let me put it over here so you can see it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's
2 up
crooked,
and 1
but
down
yeah.
in front of the bridge.
So that's what he'd see on his there.
JMRI Cats. Yeah, this guy William that we've been doing this stuff for has got a program. He said he got it in Germany or for German systems.
I don't know if just
need to ask him next time he calls you.
Yeah.
I'd like to know myself, because this is the kind of stuff a lot of people want, is the real signaling, and you can do that with his system.
Yeah.
From block to block,
And it can blink or not.
Yeah, it does that. So to answer this question of that, we can make you the signal with the lights, the configuration that you want to indicate sidings and double tracks and all that. But as far as the controllers, when it gets that complicated, you're better off just getting a remote control system to control it.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we seem to pique a lot of viewers' interest because there's been a lot of good questions all night long. I mean, it's been a lot of.
There is some definitely good stuff here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this one was from Mystic Southern asking about programming a stock trading algorithm.
No, we got out of stock.
Or to win the vote. So anyway, yeah.
So I know you guys mentioned it, but I'm going to ask again because I forgot already. But when is your IR sensor? When is your plan for releasing an IR sensor?
He's actually got it worked on and designing it. It's just that we've had so many other orders come in.
Yeah,
it's kind of gotten the back shelved.
I don't know if I can support that, so I'm counting on Lionel, somebody. But
okay,
we'll come up with something, and if we get a dry spell, I'll probably jump on that and see what I can come up with. If I can get something off the shelf, that we can make that's just off the shelf, and it's
simplify it.
It's simplified so it's not so critical of where it's positioned, and
the one thing I don't like about Lionel's IR detector is such a big bulky box. How many of those do you want sitting around your layout?
Yeah,
I just want some simple little post sticking up that says, "Okay,
right,
train's here, I'm here."
A little mast, a little mast with the.
Yeah, I imagine too. You could probably like a trackside signal cabinet or something. You could probably make up to hide something like that in too, couldn't you?
Yeah. That's kind of what we're doing. We're using a Dwarf, basically. You've seen as you go down the tracks, you see these little short Dwarf-looking things, and except they'll be pointing into the train, instead of down the track.
Well, we're definitely growing. What started out as a single signal has developed into what you've been seeing. So,
yeah, I definitely agree with what Sean Fields is saying because, like I said, the G-Scale community has a loss of signals altogether. So, you guys could definitely cover that segment in the G-Scale hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll have to look into some more of the two-rail control signaling. And I know there's several means of doing that. I've seen it done. But I think I kind of like the idea of what he talked about as a control cabinet with a battery in it for some of the G scale stuff, especially like the person thing. So.
And you could have, if they put it on the train like they're doing with a battery, and when it's going down the track, if it's shines on something on the track, it's the signal, there'd be a time, we'd put a time delay in there or something, that, and it reset as long as there's seeing something.
Like the wheels
by.
going by every time the wheel would block it, but you couldn't.
Something would trigger
It has to have a time delay.
To start, because
So
you'd
it
have to
wouldn't keep
always have
flashing.
something like that. Because if you're not going to really be tied to it electronically,
Mm-hmm.
you're physically tied to it, and so you got to trick it to see, repetitivity going by.
That's how I get Dakman to take his pills. I have to trick him.
Yeah, here's a gummy bear.
So,
That's tricky.
No, there's been some good questions.
We can probably do the C&O block signals. I know that.
No
We
problem.
just got to have a picture and a style.
Yeah,
Like I said,
size,
if you're looking for something specific,
scale, size.
era, railroad era, steam era, diesel, whatever. We just got to have a good picture of it, and then whatever your color flashing is that you want.
Right.
We really like the guys that like to have their own signaling.
Yeah.
Because then we just provide them the lighting set up with the resistive values so they don't blow their resistors.
Yep.
And they wire it up to their own controls. But we can do the controls. There's so much going on.
Yeah.
Will you guys do something besides signals in the future? Mystic Southern Railway asks.
You guys do other like custom stuff for people as well, I believe, don't you?
Well, we did some girder bridges at one time, just the girders.
Yeah.
And we were going to make the box trusses, to make that. Yeah. I think you got some of that in O-scale.
Yeah, I made a timer for some guy that he puts up their G scale trains in stores. To go around the building, and so people would put a quarter in this little timer.
Basically a washing machine box or something.
Right, yeah, it's like that. And so they drop their quarters, and they'll give them 3 minutes. And you add another one, you get 3 more minutes, that kind of thing. And I just used his G scale. Well, it was this guy right here. It just had one
single head.
Yeah, one single head. And it was always red unless they put a quarter in. And when the quarter went in, it went green. So it was just the opposite of, and then it'd go around, and when it got close to the end, it turned yellow, and then it turned red.
Flashing yellow, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's flashing yellow, yeah.
Yeah, so he did do a flashing yellow.
I did do one like that. So and that was an oddball. But
that's interesting.
I was playing with his coin deposit. I tore into that and found out how to hook up to it.
Well, I'll tell you this much. Once we get into starting to build my layout, and I start wanting some things like...
He's going to hog me.
Gee, I'll go, hey, I wish they had an air conditioning unit for the top of this building. No, there's probably no limit to what you can design and produce. It's just, what is it? I think Atlas is doing a lot of 3D stuff now too on weird things. But there's several different types of 3D printing, and one of the ones they do is the liquid print, where it goes and uses light and it kind of draws it out of the plastic.
Yeah, the resin.
Yeah, those give a lot higher quality resolution as far as finely detailed stuff. You can get smaller, but I've talked to several guys. That resin's messy, and it's just it's like everything else. It's got a shelf life, and we probably won't ever get into the resin casting. But what we have with our 3D printing is size limitation. That's why one of the reasons why we won't do N scale is because you get such fine. You need such fine little stuff that it's almost not durable enough to 3D print it.
Yeah.
You can, but
Yeah.
Sparky's got an excellent question. Optical versus motion for detection.
well, I prefer the optical because I think
Yeah.
you can get it more adjusted and
Yeah.
sensitive.
Or magnetic, could be a hull,
Yeah.
but you'd have to have something to detect, your magnet, and the magnet would have to be timed. It'd be triggered and then you'd have to have one on the end or something along
Well,
the
it's
line.
usually got to have one on a car that's moving,
Yeah, right.
and then the sensors in the track or under the
Right,
track.
yeah.
But yeah, I haven't done much with that particular. I've always done the photo optics,
Yeah.
personally, and I've played around. Like I said, back when I was doing N scale, I was doing the CAD sensors, the little round disc with the little lines going through them, and I'd stick those in the track and stuff. But they're definitely were light sensitive. If your room light changed,
Mhm.
then the sensitivity of this detector would change. So you had to constantly fiddle with it. I couldn't keep my signals going in N scale. My cat kept chewing them up.
I can't catch you.
Yeah, I don't know what it was about the plastic, but he'd get up there and chew on them.
Well, Kyle had mentioned that South Bend made their signals with everything in the base, including battery and all. Is that something that's possible?
Yeah, probably so. They make several kinds of batteries. I know you can get a little bitty 12-volt battery that's a little cylinder.
Yeah, I never looked at the ones that South Bend made up close, but I know like in the side of the base, I believe had like the optical sensor right in there, so
Yeah.
you basically just sit it next to the track.
It'd be nice to get a hold of one of those, reverse engineer it.
Yeah. You'd almost have to. You'd almost have to have some kind of rechargeable thing because, the trouble with the battery is it doesn't last very long. Even
Well,
the
I guess it depends on what it is.
Yeah.
Um,
how
trying
much
to
you
think.
draw is on it, right? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
Kyle,
what heat don't draw a whole lot.
Yeah.
Kyle mentioned it was a 9-volt.
9-volt.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to see one to see how big the base was because our base is not too clunky. It's almost to scale probably.
Yeah.
But like anything else, you can design just about anything you want to do if you're willing to sacrifice something like size or whatever or cost.
This Fred that's on the end of this, actually, I think it's got 3 hearing aid batteries in it.
Right.
And
Sweet.
I did a test on this a while back, and I just left it on continually blinking, and I want to say the batteries held up for 6 days, I think, just
Mhm.
continually blinking. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Any current drawing there.
with the LEDs, you kind of
A green LED hardly draws anything. In fact, I have to put 10K or 10 meg, no, 10K or 20K in there, or it's too bright. The LEDs we use, so those would last a week.
Well, that's another thing. I know I used a 9-volt battery, but they got lithiums now that you can get that are the wafers, different size lithium discs.
Yeah.
They use those in the computers that last for 5 years, and the photo cells and the smoke detectors. Those are lithium batteries, and they're those little round. So I'm sure we could come up with something in a base.
Yeah.
So, well, we got to come up with some more ideas, Mr. Engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a perfect opportunity for you guys to grow with the needs of the G-Skill people, like R&D and making new stuff, and then growing together. It sounds like a perfect fit, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of communication. We talk to them, they talk back to us, and
well, here's what we usually do. If somebody says, "Okay, hey, I'm using an ASITRAC system," well, we went and bought an ASITRAC controller to see what it would do, and how it interfaces and all that. So
Right.
Oh,
if you've got something like that you know that you know, we want to
Doesn't cost
operate with,
$1,000.
yeah, if it's not,
We won't buy it.
you could maybe power this.
Yeah.
Yeah, solar panel's an idea. That you can put a little solar panel on top or something. Yeah, now that's a good idea.
Yeah, because you're outside,
right.
rains, and you'd keep going as long as you had no rain.
Well, we're getting some good ideas here too, so appreciate the
Yeah.
people's input. That's always good.
Well, that's good because, like I said, the G scale market is wide open, and
Mhm.
and it's much needed. And like I said, there seems to be a lot of interest, enough that both the viewers and you guys can work together to to continue to grow different things that would fit the needs of most of the G scalers out there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Whether it be dead rail or whether they're running live track or
Mhm.
Well, I could see very easily making this a solar powered unit right here, because there's room in the base to put a rechargeable lithium battery in the base of it, trickle charge it off a little solar panel on top,
Mhm.
and we could make our own mounts. Somebody asked me, do we make other things? I made in O scale. They have a lot of electric railroad circuit cards and stuff, and I've modified a lot of my engines with electric railroad. But I didn't like using their little double-sided sticky tape to glue their circuit cards down. So I made my own holders 3D printed where I could screw them into the train and then glue the sticky tape to the holder, so it wasn't gluing a circuit card to a metal base, So, yeah, we make things as needed. And, I did some badges for some guy in a snow machine once.
I was just looking here. Kyle that had asked the one question, he sent me a picture of what the base on a South Bend looks like. I was just trying to pull it up here so I could show you
I
guys.
like little Fred. I'd be interested to see one of those. Maybe we could make a Fred device.
What is it?
It's just it's that little flashing rear end light.
Oh, yeah,
Just
yeah.
plugs on top of a coupler.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah, that one was Steve Bentko that was on our show before he made that. And then I've got it's here somewhere. I have to look here in a second. I've got a smaller one that actually has a separate 9-volt it runs off of. Steve had made his to be all self-contained,
right.
and Vincent Corbo made the other one that's more of a scale size, but then you have to have a separate battery.
Yeah.
They both have their advantage. It's just whichever way you want to go with it.
Right.
Let's see here.
yeah, I'm interested to see what this South Bend signal looks like.
Yeah, me too. Because like anything, what we've done is I don't think you can get any smaller electronic components than what we're using. If you saw how Ken solders this stuff, he's got one of those magnifying viewing stations that he leans against, and he's soldering through a microscope and putting all these little bitty components. We're talking, inch square resistors and stuff. So it's little stuff.
Yeah, the ICs are 1/8 inch.
The only way you could get it any smaller is
10
if you
leads.
did a masking.
Yeah. No, there we go.
So that's what he sent me. He said that's the base of a South Bend.
That's easy. That's doable.
I'm trying to look. That's between. He's holding it with 2 fingers, right?
Yeah. That he's holding that in his hand.
That's probably about 2.5, 3 inches high.
So I guess my question for Kyle is, like, that's not a separate base that sits next to the signal. The signal actually is on top of that.
On top of that,
Yeah.
Which I believe is the case, but I'll see if Kyle
right?
tells me
Looks
here.
like it's got a pretty big flat base on the bottom of that, and then of course you can't see the mast or anything coming off of it, but again, it wouldn't be any deal to make up a little box like that to put a battery in and just have a wire to plug into your signal. So you could do that.
Okay.
And that could be an electronic cabinet sitting beside the signal. So yeah,
okay.
there's lots of options there. That's not too bad. And especially G scale. Gee, the cabinets could be 6-8 inches tall. You know, how tall is a man in G scale? 2 inches,
Uh,
3 inches,
that's a good question.
half inch to a foot. He's 6 foot, so he could very easily be 3 feet tall or 3 inches tall. And I'm sure those mechanical cabinets that we see beside the railroad, those things are 5-6 feet tall, or at least
Yeah.
Those
You know,
aluminum, they're
those
kind of
big
aluminum.
metal silver boxes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think. Okay, so this is a bell out, but the box is the same. Okay.
One side of those is for the detector, the other would be for the sound card for a grade crossing.
Right, the ding, ding, dinging bell.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Got it. Yeah, I've got the little circuit card
It
that
does
plugs
that.
in the bottom, and when it triggers the lights to flash, the
Yeah,
card
yeah,
dings.
Yeah.
That's MTH made those.
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, I guess the next thing what I do is I start researching components now. I go look and see what I can find for what's the smallest photo cells available, and
Okay.
Yeah.
Sean Fields sent me another picture, I guess, to demonstrate that base a little bit better. Give me a second here.
okay.
All right.
That's the one thing I miss about Radio Shack. You used to be able to go in there and have these weird components and things, but
Yeah, that's
I don't miss their prices.
well, yeah, there was that too.
Yeah.
So Sean Fields said this shows that assembled.
Okay.
Let me.
Well, this thing
Yeah.
here, yeah.
So this is the flashing crossing gates, and that's just an electrical cabinet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, you could just have an electrical cabinet to hide some of that other stuff in.
Yeah,
'cause-
that's what I was saying. That for your optical
Yep.
detection stuff.
And you
Yeah.
could make it so that the doors snap in, press fit, or magnet fit, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so that's a good idea. You can send us that picture too if you would.
Yeah, I can do that.
Well, that's great. We have a lot of interaction, people sending pictures. I mean, there's a lot of involvement from both the
Yeah.
members. And
Yeah.
The right side has a 9-volt control board. The left side is the sound and detector.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. We'll have to work on the sound and detectors. That's actually not that hard to do. Try to remember. I think MTH actually had a sound chip that was programmed. I don't know. It was a little black glued on into the circuit, so there was no way you could do anything. It's just pre-made. But that's what they did. They just pre-recorded a sound chip, and then whenever they triggered it, ding, ding, ding.
Ah, okay.
okay.
Yeah, that was a nice looking scene that he sent us.
Yeah.
Who's the Conrail? I know who Conrail is.
Although those were my engines. That's when I visited
you
Sean a few months ago. And actually, I have to open one of those up because the board was overheating in it, and I never got around to it after I got back home.
Well,
Model train electronics are so much fun, aren't they?
Yeah, don't hate it, but I don't own anything in Conrail. Unfortunately, I grew up in the Southwest, so everything I have is SPUP, cotton.
Nothing wrong with that.
Only thing is I sprung north and Alaska Railroad did me, so.
Yeah, those are what F7s that you did the custom on. I thought those were pretty neat looking.
7 set, yeah, they're a beautiful set. I actually have a shop photograph of the real engine, and it looks just like this. I mean, it's bright and shiny. All the red paint's glaring, and they were just finished painting it, and it was sitting in the shop. So, pretty cool picture. And the guy that custom painted this didn't do too bad of a job. He's a little bit heavy in the paint, and if he's not careful, he can get a little bit of, what do you call it, frog eye, or that little bit orange peel, but not too often. He's like really shiny, so he thinks he has to paint it really heavy to get it to shine. Anyway, I'm pretty pleased with it. I'm not a nitpicker. I don't go around looking for every bolt and thread that's not right.
Yeah, life's too short
I'm
for
into
that.
appearance. If it looks good and it's one of those, ooh, cool. But I don't know. There are some nitpickers, but that's okay.
All right. Hopefully that answers a lot of questions, and I hope you guys get a lot of.
Well, we more than welcome any emails just asking questions and more inputs. And if they have an idea or something, pass it to us because we're always into it. And,
Now, are you guys always in production, always taking orders, or is it at certain times, or
always? It's
Currently.
all the time.
okay?
Yeah, the only time that we might be out of production is if our health is down. He was sick for a week, about a month ago, and it wasn't the COVID, but it was one of those flu bugs. But other than that, he's pretty healthy and he's pretty much at it every day. Like I said, the only time he's not is if I pull him away.
All right, and hopefully you guys get big enough into this that maybe someday we can have you visit a G Scale show.
Well, what we wanted to do, and there's just so many things going on. COVID has definitely ruined it for a lot of us and a lot of things.
Yes,
But we're going to try, I think, next year to make it to the York train show, and we're going to take a variety of our stuff and demo it and stuff. I don't know how big he wants to get, and I'm probably going to be forced into retirement here pretty quick just because of this vaccination thing. But if that's the case, then I'll probably come down here and start getting my house done quicker, and then I'll be helping him doing production. So we'll be at it full time. That's the whole purpose of the man cave. Is the whole downstairs is going to be our production shop. Whole upstairs is the train layout, and the little bitty hole in the corner is where I'm going to live.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
30 by 10, right? That's what you
got. My living space is 12 by 30. The workshop is 24 by 30, and the train layout is 36 by 40.
and here's some good advice. John says if you plan on coming to the East Coast Large Scale Train Show, which is now being held in Timonium, Maryland, you should bring a lot to sell. And I think you guys would do great if you actually did that.
Yeah, here's the thing. We need input from you guys because I know one of our biggest sellers that we do in O scale, and we usually try to keep a stock of about 10 on hand, is the Searchlight, single Searchlights. And then the single Streetlights. So we usually had a bunch of those on hand, but he's gotten wiped out from that lately, so we got to get that going back up. But we would do the same thing in O scale. Tell us what you think would be a popular one, and then we'll make a bunch of those, and then bring stuff to the show, and then after that, would take special orders.
And I have to agree with this comment. This was a great show. A lot of great information. A lot of good interaction from the viewers. The viewers getting involved, sending pictures, making suggestions.
No, it's been fun.
Yeah, this has been a good show.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like I said, we're open to any emails they want to send us to get questions answered. And, the more the merrier. And like I said, any input, we'll have to. Since you guys are the G scale experts, you'll have to tell us when the next show is and how far out it is.
Yeah.
And it's up by Maryland, you said?
It's in Timonium, Maryland.
Maryland.
Just outside of Baltimore, right?
Yeah. It'd be a day trip for us. We'd have to spend the weekend up there, I'm sure. Yeah. But
yeah.
it'd be fun.
It would, and you had the B&O Railroad Museum right there too. If you were looking for something to do
Okay.
while you're staying out there, you wouldn't be too far from that. And so, oh look, he said he already sent an email.
It's probably to Ken because I didn't get it. No, let me check. Oh, no, that's from Heath to me. Okay, I'll read it and get back to you, Heath.
Personally, I would say your D-type signals, your Penzi position light signal, and also your Searchlight signal to start off is the best. That basically covers the major railroads. So there's your some input from the G-scale viewers right there.
Yeah.
So it looks like we sparked a lot of interest. And
Yeah.
Do you know anything about that, Sean?
What's
G-Scale
that?
show in Oaks, PA in January?
Not that I know of. I mean, usually the Oaks show is usually a mixed show, not just for G-scale.
Okay.
They're probably talking about the Greenberg train show, which is usually in Oaks, Pennsylvania, because the World's Greatest Hobby won't be up and running until 2022.
Well, maybe
Oh, really? Wow.
get a few of these.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that by December, well, like I said, I'll probably be working on my house a lot more here now that I might be unemployed. But I'll get this thing going. We can really start beefing up production more too.
Yep.
So that'll be good.
Okay.
All right. So unless there's any more questions from the viewing audience, which I don't see any, like I said, I thank you guys for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I gave me a lot of ideas and more reasons to spend money.
Well, I took a break last weekend on, I think it was last Saturday actually. We quit raining finally, and so I thought, come on, it's only an hour away. Let's go down to this train show. So we went down there, and we spent about an hour was all there. But I ended up buying 6 cars.
And I want to see the G-scale viewers who buy these signals. I want to see pictures.
You will.
Show us some pictures when you guys buy these signals from them, and
Yeah, we will.
we'd love to show them off.
We usually do a video demonstrating it, and then we always send it to the person. Well, I'll give you an example. We sent JD some stuff, and then he came back. We sent him one as an example, and he came back and he said, "Hey, how about doing a design change on the ladder and little minor things?" He said, "Would you be willing to do that?" We said, "Sure, not a problem." So he said, "Cool." So we did one, sent that one. He sent the other one back, and then he put in a big order with exactly what he wanted.
Yeah.
So,
And one real quick question, real fast. Do you think you guys will? He needs a bridge. Will you guys do any bridges in the future?
Oh, yeah.
Anything like that?
I mean, like
You mean a G bridge?
yeah, like a girder bridge or a truss bridge or something like that?
Yeah.
Is that what he's talking about?
Yeah, he wasn't too
Yeah.
specific, but it just
Bridges are pretty
generally.
easy, especially if we have a picture and a design and the length. They're just printed pieces of plastic, and you can glue those together. And I actually wanted to do, like I said, our plan was to do a box truss bridge kit that you could put together and make it as long as you wanted for a box truss. And same way with the girders. I designed it so you could either make it like a flat car load or actually make it into a bridge, or so we did do some cool stuff. We just haven't done a lot of that lately. We've been focusing on just signals.
And Heath is asking for girlfriend signals.
Huh?
No, I think that's one of the God mysteries. There is no signal to help communicate.
What we have here is a failure to communicate.
But yeah, he was originally talking about a G-scale truss bridge or even a girder bridge in the future.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure we could do any of that stuff. Again,
Yeah, most of those would be customs,
Yeah.
So what do you need? How long?
it would be a minimum of $40 design, and if it's not too ridiculously elaborate.
And a G might be 50, but because the plastic consumption,
Yeah.
But
And then the
it's not
cost
going
of
to
the
be
bridge.
anything to break the bank. So
All right. Well, anyway, I'm still laughing about Heath's comment. So, guy, he cracks me up. But anyway, thanks again for coming on tonight, guys. A
right.
lot of nice information. Looking forward to some exciting product. Looks like there's a lot of potential for future different designs. With the help of the G scale community, and we'll see how far you guys get with that, and hopefully it grows into a big ongoing business for you in the G scale community. And
Well, we keep our Chinese workforce busy. I know that. That's the 3D printers.
Yeah.
And is there any follow up you want to mention there, Andrew?
I don't think so at the moment. I just found it to be a really informative show. Thanks again, guys.
Again.
Yeah, it was great. And for those viewers, they do have reviews. There are YouTube channels that have reviews on O-gauge and other signals that you can see. Basically the same thing, just scaled down. And there's great reviews on our product, and our product is pretty good. So check them out. Don't hesitate to email them. They'll walk you through everything. If you want something customized, just be specific as to what you want, and that way you get something that you expected to get. And
Right.
thanks again for everybody who joined us on the large scale consolidated show tonight. And so we'll say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah. Good night. See you later.
Good night and stay safe.
Yep.
All right. Later, everybody.
Bye.